Welcome to GW Integrative Medicine, the podcast about disease prevention and health promotion from the Office of Integrative Medicine and Health at the George Washington University School of Medicine and Health Sciences.
I'm Dr. Lee Frame, Director of the Integrative Medicine Programs here at GW.
And I'm Janet Rodriguez, the Office's Administrative Director. Today, we're talking nutrition science with Chef Eric Adjepong, MPH, a finalist on season 16 of Bravo's Top Chef, one of my favorite shows. He delighted viewers with his passion for the culinary arts and nutrition.
Chef Eric has a bachelor's degree in culinary arts and culinary nutrition from Johnson & Wales, one of the country's premier culinary institutes, and a Master of Public Health and International Public Health Nutrition from the University of Westminster in London.
Prior to launching Pinch and Plate with his wife, Janelle, Chef Eric cooked in several Michelin-starred restaurants in New York.
Welcome to GW Integrative Medicine, and Chef Eric.
Hey, Leah, thank you guys for the awesome intro. Good to hear from you guys.
You're welcome.
Absolutely. We are so glad to have you.
So, Eric, on Top Chef, you let your nutrition scientist flag fly, as I like to think.
I did, yeah.
What led you to study it in culinary school and then at university in London?
Yeah, that's a really great question. I think for me, it was I always had a passion for culinary arts and cooking, and I guess really the social attractions that food brought. You know, bringing people together, bringing people to a table. Breaking bread. I always loved that. I always admired when people can do that with food. So to me, when I kind of crossed that bridge of actually going up to college and getting ready to really plan the rest of my life, it was kind of one of those things when you know better, you do better. And I was definitely encouraged and pushed by my folks and my parents by just really striving for the best that I can. So it wasn't just culinary arts. It's like, what else can I do? How else can I be more impactful with what I'm doing? And that kind of just led me into the rabbit hole of nutrition and public health, honestly.
That sounds very familiar to me, actually. I also loved food and grew up with a family that was very important. I'm half Italian, so food is very important.
Of course.
And then I realized that you could actually also, I was going down the science track, and realized that you could also do science and nutrition. And then I was like, wow, I can do more with this. And then I ended up getting my degree in public health nutrition too. So look at that. We have so much in common. Coming at it from two different angles. So what do you think someone with a culinary arts degree brings to nutrition that's maybe unique and something that, say, like a nutrition scientist who doesn't have that background, the really steep tradition in cooking, can't do as well?
I think that's a great question, Lee. I think it was always presented to me, I think, quite early in undergrad, that if I was able to, the more that I can differentiate myself from the pack, from the group, the better that I'd have of really making something of myself and really setting myself apart and having an impact on the world. And really, the trend and trajectory towards people becoming more health conscious, more aware of the foods that they're putting in their body, more aware of the things that foods is kind of doing on a not only like a city scale, but a community scale, a state, global, regional, whatever, is going to become more apparent. And that was right around, I feel like, 2009, 2008. And really, I mean, the trajectory kind of followed through. So I knew that it was something that people would just become, as information, especially with the internet and everything becoming more accessible and easier to access. It was just kind of one of those things that it made sense to me at a young age that this is something that if I can really see through, I can have an impact not only just on a dinner table, but on a more global scale. And that's exactly what I did.
Fantastic. I think it's great to get someone such as yourself out there so publicly, people who maybe don't even know that's an option, that you could be you could have a nutrition background and also be a chef.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's funny because I know of maybe two others that kind of followed a similar path. And like you mentioned, we all kind of went to Johnson & Wales University. So it's a rare kind of I guess, asset to have. And really, it's the knowledge and just the understanding of how food works and how it operates. Again, not only for yourself, but for a larger scale. It really was fascinating to me. The more I learned about it, so it's something that I'm very proud of. And I try to kind of I notice myself kind of dabbling, one hat, and one hat the other, so to speak. So I'm cooking, but I'm also teaching. I'm also educating and doing as much philanthropic work I can as possible. So it's cool. It's a great position to be in. And I'm very blessed to have made the decision that I've done. I'm very lucky for
You're really speaking our language, Eric, because
that.
when they brought Lee in as our program director, we knew we were going to definitely be going full tilt at nutrition because she's a nutrition scientist too.
Yeah, I mean, it's really it goes hand in hand. I think you guys really you saw that obviously early on with Lee. I think um, when you have a concentration or your craft is focused in one concentration, but it can bridge towards another, that's almost seems like it goes hand in hand. Obviously, when you think of food, you think of not only well, I guess for me, my goal was always to get people to break out of that thought. It was always just not what you're cooking in your home, but what does that look like on a community scale? What are the people eating around you? What does that look like? What are the grocers selling? What are what's the education being taught like in schools around food and healthy eating and things like
Or
that.
not being taught.
Or not being taught, exactly. Yeah, well said. Well said. I funny enough, when I came back from England, this is back in 2013, I worked in Harlem at the Harlem Children's Zone for some time, teaching. We had a really beautifully funded program, after school program called Healthy Harlem. And, like you mentioned, we're not being funded, but we were lucky enough to have resources and assets to teach. We would go out to the different housing projects and housing communities, rather, in New York, and we would go weekends and we would teach people about fresh food and how to prepare it. And it was great. It was really empowering. We were teaching kids as young as 4 and as old as 17 about fresh food and preparation, and bringing their family along and doing like grocery trips, and showing them how to walk through the aisles and what to look for and what not to look for, and what these competitors and what companies are actually trying to get you to do and get you to buy as well. So it was a deep education, but I think when you have a little bit more of that all around, then um, you really see the fruition, and you really see like the actual, I guess, the public health side of things really work. Education is important, and it's not just about telling, but it's about showing, especially when it comes to food.
Such a good point. And I think a lot of programs that do try to focus on nutrition, they don't go far enough back. Like you're focusing on how do they get the foods.
Exactly.
A lot of people are completely intimidated by getting foods that are healthy into their house, let alone cooking them. So you have to take them to the grocery store and walk through. I love that approach.
Yeah, no, it was great. And it was almost a quick kind of showing like of the sample size, like how actual is like the qualitative data and the quantitative data. We would bring, 10 families, and then we'd really see by the end of the day, by the end of the trip after the grocery store, what they learned and what they picked up, because we allowed them to actually go and, go out to the field, so to speak, and, go to the grocery and pretend like this was a normal kind of day for you. And we would walk them through the things that they bought and how they could be more utilized or better utilized. And it was great. I mean, the education and when people see things hands on, it's just a lot better than telling. And especially when it comes to food, when I can show you how to cook something nutritious for your family, you're more inclined to do so.
So on my mother's side, I'm Gullah, and on my father's side, I'm Cape Verdean.
Beautiful.
So I was very excited to see you on Top Chef and cooking West African cuisine. So how does being a first-generation Ghanaian American and a nutrition scientist influence your food philosophy?
That's a really, really good question, Jen. I think Well, shout out to Cape Verde. I love my Cape Verdean people and Gullah Geechee. I love that's like two very, very deep and rich cultures that are close to my heart. So I love
Thank
that,
you.
and I'd love to hear more about your background. Yeah, that's awesome. Geez, I really just wanted to follow, the footsteps and let me backtrack. I think honestly, I had a really interesting dichotomy growing up. It was growing up in a very traditional West African home, but then being in New York, I was a regular New York City kid. So that dichotomy,
Hmm.
was always apparent to me. And it was life. It was what it was, and I was lucky enough to grow up in a very enriched, Ghanaian community. So the food was something that was always around me, and just so happened that my natural interest was around food. But I think what was also cool about being in New York was the fact that I could have the opportunity to eat from different cuisines, Caribbean, West Indies, Jewish communities, Italian communities. It was all right in my doorstep, my backyard, really being in the Bronx. So all of those flavors and all those memories really kind of matured itself into I guess what you can call, I guess I'm doing right now, what you see right now. And then again, like I mentioned, when you know better, you do better. And not only understanding on one side how enriched and how beautiful and how delicious the food is, from not only from my background, but again, just growing up in New York. But then also on the other flip, like there's deserts, there's food deserts in there that are suffering. There are communities that don't have access to healthy food there, or groceries, or healthy groceries rather. So um, it's the dichotomy of really just wanting to do better for someone who looked like me, growing up. Because I see that my folks still live in the Bronx, and when I go and visit them or visit family or friends, I see someone who's interested in food, or I see someone who looked just like me, and going to the bodega, or you can see a Hispanic person going to like a West African market and getting food. So I can see that happening with different people. And I would just want to extend the hand as much as possible and really try to make sure that the next generation coming up, um, if you were ever so interested in what I'm doing exactly, then you have an easier route to see, how it's done, somewhat of a blueprint, so to speak. And um, I just hope I can aid to that. Really, it's a loaded question, but I feel like I'm doing the best that I can to really not only champion the food that I grew up eating and grew up around, but also champion eating it and practicing and cooking the right way.
You gotta break ground and pioneer things, because when
Mm,
you look at the diversity, especially today, of the American diet. 30 years ago, who would have known that you'd see cassava root or
mm-hmm.
kiwi
Mm,
fruit, or lychee
Right,
or
in
right,
your
acai.
local grocery. It's no big deal
exactly,
now.
exactly.
So we
No,
appreciate
that's awesome. Yeah, absolutely. And I think a little bit goes a long way. It's all about education. It's all about, introducing. And I love that. I love that point. I was funny enough at the Wegmans, and I saw, tamarind and jackfruit and
Mm.
dragon
it.
fruit and all this other like really exotic stuff, produce that, like you mentioned, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, you probably never see here in the States. So yeah, that's a great point.
Looking through the lens of food and nutrition, how do you see the coronavirus pandemic? How is this affecting your perspective, either as an immigrant, as a chef, as a nutrition scientist, all of those?
Oh wow. That right there is one that's kind of like an ongoing kind of question. I feel like it depends on what day, more so to speak, just because we're still in it. Now, I'm not the smartest person in the world to as far as understanding how this is going to fully impact the industry in whole. I'd say the restaurant industry, but just the food industry. But I can say on a smaller scale, for the restaurants, the small businesses, it affects tremendously. We go out and we rely on restaurants. Really for so many social occasions that we don't might maybe kind of even realize, whether it's a
Mm-hmm.
birthday party or whether it's a promotion at work, or graduation, or honest anything. We go and we celebrate, and
Friday
we look,
night.
yeah, Friday night, exactly. We look forward to the service. We look forward to, letting our hair down and being the ones around the people that we love. And unfortunately, we're not going to be able to do that due to the social distancing, at least for some time now. So there's a lot of restaurants that I know. I have a lot of colleagues and good friends, who are struggling, unfortunately. But I think once a vaccine, the vaccine is probably the number one thing. Once the vaccine is here, then I hope
Mm-hmm.
that we can kind of get back to some sort of normalcy. But until that actually happens, the restaurant industry is quite in a gray space at the moment. And I think even just further than that, nutrition, um, it can touch so many different things. You heard the stories about the meat plants, and it being affected through
Mm-hmm.
the workers there, and how can that affects the supply chains and everything else. Is a huge economic, huge social, huge nutrition, food. Coronavirus is definitely through 2020 for a loop. I say that.
Mm-hmm.
It's an ongoing thing, but I hope, I can tell you what my hope is for sure is that uh, the market, so to speak, kind of regulates itself. We can kind of get back to a point in which where food is a little bit more accessible. We can maybe run around the margins in restaurants a little bit more, and pay people, a fairer wage, where, God forbid if this is were to happen again, you don't have people and their families crushed by this kind of economic downturn. So I hope for a lot of things, but that's a load. Oh my gosh, I feel like we can have a podcast. We can truly have a podcast on,
Absolutely.
just on that question alone. There's so many things to really go into, but I'm hoping for the best for sure.
Yeah. Well, I think you did a pretty good job of covering a lot of the issues that are really key to the world that you're inhabiting. And
Yeah.
I also am quite hopeful that there will be some silver linings coming out of this, such as you're saying, people having a living wage to
Hmm.
work in restaurants. That would be
Totally.
a fantastic one.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, it's one of those moments where you hope that, I feel conflicted saying this, but I don't know how else to better phrase it. But adversity sometimes it's a really terrible thing to waste. And when you have something like this,
Mm-hmm.
in a restaurant industry, especially hotels or just kind of mom and pops, they're essentially 24-hour businesses, and it's
Yeah.
hard to stop a machine when it's hard to stop a machine when it's continuously going. So now that it's stopped and everybody's kind of been on pause, this is the exact moment to really reflect on, hey, how can we come back stronger? How can we do this better? How can we really make sure that everybody that's working inside the restaurant and really in our eco space, whether it be the purveyors and the farmers and everyone who's associated, even down to the customers that come in, like how can we make this experience not only safer, more affordable, and really just try to up the quality towards everything. I think this is a perfect time to really reflect on that.
Well said.
Do you think that nutrition and sustainability of food might play into that process?
Um,
You talked about like food suppliers and
yeah, I'd say for the immediate future, yes. Unfortunately, now there are farmers who have an abundance of, of product, or the crops, or whether it's meat. I know one farmer, specifically. I was talking to a good chef of mine, and he's having an issue. His farmer's having an issue with um, preparing and raising so much cattle, and you have to slaughter them now, and now you have so much meat and you're trying to sell it, and you have restaurants are not necessarily buying because they can't prepare it, and then you're going to other means to get rid of the food. So there's definitely things right now as we speak immediately that are going on. Farmers are definitely feeling I mean, when I say the restaurant industry, it's far past just, the mom and pop spots that you walk by. As much as it affects them, it affects, the drivers, the people on the trucks delivering food. It affects the farmers. It affects, really. There's so many different margins that get up and down. So I think in the long run, I really hope that this market in and of itself, nutrition, and being sustainable with food and finding the best ways to grow food to where food is prepared. I hope that changes, and I hope people really pick up on things. I mean, yeah, this is another question I feel like can go on forever as well. But yeah, I really do hope that there is a significant change on so many fronts.
Eric, how can people help restaurants right now? I mean, besides, ordering online or, going inside the ones you can go to, are there any nonprofits that you could suggest that people donate to?
Yeah, totally, absolutely, and I appreciate the opportunity to do so. If you really check in your local, your state's small business and departments of labor, they have different groups who are supporting different restaurants and small businesses all throughout different cities, no matter where you are. Um, the next thing, James Beard Foundation is doing an excellent job of raising money and distributing and allocating funds to chefs who need it, restaurateurs who need it. I myself am working with Territory Foods. We were giving proceeds to the meals that I had on their meal delivery service to James Beard Foundation, and now currently to Black Lives Matter. Oh my goodness, what else? What else? What else? There's so many. I mean, you can go on to your favorite restaurant's website and buy a T-shirt, buy a mug, buy any sort of
Buy
paraphernalia
a
that
gift
isn't
card.
food. Yeah, buy a gift card. There's so many little things that really, I think the more creative you can be, you can really find ways to support, and right now those folks, we really need it. The restaurant industry it's not going to be the same. I tell you that for sure when we kind of get back, but I'm hoping that this 2.0, whatever this new version is, uh, can withstand, and it should.
So before we let you go, I have one question for you. What's one thing you think everyone should eat a day?
Oh, wow. That is a
It's a
fantastic
tough one.
question.
See, if I
That
ask
is a
the question to
fantastic
Lee,
question.
I know the answer, fiber. So what's your
I know it's
Fiber,
answer?
yeah.
right.
That is a fantastic question. Fiber probably is, oh man. Give me a second. Let me think about this one. What should everybody, I mean, you gotta, it might be a really low hanging fruit, maybe, but water, like people don't drink
Hmm.
water. I think that's important.
No,
I don't
that's a
know
good
if
one.
no,
You're right.
I think yeah. I'm saying low hanging fruit because I feel like it's so obvious, but it really isn't. I sometimes, and I don't want to call out my nieces and nephews, but I sometimes hang out with them. It's just like it's juices and it's this and it's that and it's everything but
Hmm.
water. So let's up the intake of water. How about that?
There you go.
That's great. I think a lot of people, it is so simple and it's low hanging fruit, but people forget, and they also
Yeah,
forget how many calories are in the non-water options that they're drinking,
correct.
or how much
Yeah,
sugar.
I mean, one, it does so many wonders for just your regulatory system, keeping you like
Mm.
right, keeping your skin clean, keeping you as healthy as possible. And I just find it to be delicious, whether it's room temperature or cold, whatever the
Hmm.
case is. I love water, so
Yeah.
I would strongly encourage that. I think okay, if I'm not cheating, I'd say maybe fiber is a great one. I think I might stake off Aaliyah's right there. That's a really great.
And it goes well with the water. You need them hand
Yeah,
in
yeah.
hand.
Hand in hand. I think that's a really good one. We
So
should start a
Eric,
podcast called Fiber and Water.
Eric, where can people find you online?
Oh, thank you so much, Janet. I am social media. You can find me on Instagram. I am Chef Eric Adjepong, EricAdjepong. My website is chefadjepong.com. And yeah, I'm floating around pretty much Facebook, same deal, Instagram, Twitter. And just stay tuned. I'm really looking forward to announcing some really exciting things coming up in the future. So all of that be distributed through those channels. And yeah, looking forward to it.
You want to give us a sneak peek for any of those?
Oh yeah, I can. Well, I had the restaurant in mind on the double, supposed to be opening up in Union Market, but obviously due to just the social distancing mandates in the district, hoping to open at some point this summer. I'm very excited for that. And little things really are kind of in the works. I'm excited to continue doing a little bit more TV. And in the future, I'm doing virtual cooking classes at the moment right now, which has been an amazing amount of fun. Yeah, so much fun. I always taught, or I have been teaching, like I mentioned, in New York, in DC, Baltimore. But to kind of bring this on a virtual platform is awesome because I'm teaching folks who are like literally all over the world, Saudi Arabia, Canada, California. Like it's cool that everybody's kind of tuned in and either cooking alongside. So that's pretty fun. And yeah, just a lot more to come. Writing at the moment as well. So that's been interesting. Yeah, so I'm excited for the future. Looking forward to continuing on strong and just thankful for the platform that I have.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much. I think Jan and I are going to have to make a special trip to your place in Union Market as soon as it opens.
I'm going to hold you to it. That'll be awesome
down
to
the
serve you
street from where
guys.
I live.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to hold you guys to it. It'll be great to serve you guys and see you and chat in person. And yeah, it'll be great. I can't wait to open and serve you guys, and definitely looking forward to it for sure.
Well, that is all the time we have for today. Chef Eric, thank you so much for joining us.
It was a pleasure, guys. Thank you so much, Janet Lee. It was really great to speak to you guys. You guys are awesome, and thank you for setting up an amazing platform.
Thank you.
We enjoyed it too.
This is the GW Integrative Medicine Podcast from the GW Office of Integrative Medicine and Health.
I'm Dr. Lee Frame.
And I'm Janet Rodriguez.
Thanks for listening.